Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Jordan Fennell, founder of Legacy Biography. Jordan helps individuals turn their life stories into professionally written books, capturing their expression, value, and legacy for future generations. His work focuses on something many people think about but never complete, telling their story. Jordan, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm very much excited to dive in and learn a little bit more about your journey. So, Jordan, with all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning. So if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started up Legacy Biography, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Oh man, you're looking for the Batman origin story. Okay, so I've always been a writer and an artistic kind of person, and I knew when I was a kid, I was like, you're never going to make any money doing that. So I always thought there was a separation between the two, and I grew up around people that worked with their hands, worked at mills and stuff like that. Very manly, masculine, Southern type stuff. And I don't have a problem with that. But I was like, is there any way to marry those two worlds together? And I didn't think there was. So I went to college and I got a degree in creative writing. When they give you that degree in creative writing or literature or whatever, they say you can never make more than $30,000 a year now because you have this degree. And I was like, man, that's terrible. They didn't really say that, by the way, but that's kind of the feeling you get.
Yes.
But I remember
Yeah.
one of my professors, he was my mentor. He's passed away. And he said that a creative person is creative not just in their art, they're creative in their lives. And that stuck with me because he was that kind of way. Back in the day when you could do that a little easier, I think back in um, anyway, I got out of school in about '08 when the economy of the world economy said,
See you
they just
later.
checked out pretty much
Yeah.
from the '08, '09 stuff that was going on. So there were really no jobs. So I got a job at an elementary school where I had gone to school when I was like a paraprofessional. I don't know if they have those, what they call it, some
Oh,
UK. I don't know. It wasn't very good money. Um, and I kind of languished doing school English for a couple of years, and I hated that. I thought, man, I hated school when I was in school. Why am I here? How did I end up here? And it was funny because everybody around me was like, "Oh, it's a good job. It's a good job." And my parents were like, "We're proud of you." And I was like, "I don't feel proud of myself. This doesn't feel like, nothing against teachers or education, but you have to be that person to do that job." And I was thinking, what else is out there? And I came across a guy, mentors are important. I came across a guy on the internet, a snake oil salesman, and he was talking about location independent businesses and things like that. And the main thing for him and the main thing for me is freedom. I didn't work very well with somebody telling me what to do. And I thought it's just because I was rebellious or I was lazy or whatever. I decided after my teaching contract was over 1 year, I said, I'm going to find a way to take my skills and make money doing it. So I did it the opposite way that you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to find a niche or a niche. You're supposed to find a demand in the marketplace and not force what you want to do on the market. I quit teaching. I moved to a town where I didn't know anybody. I had no money. Um, and I made it work little by little. I didn't even know what writing was. And I thought, oh, because I was just looking for things to do. I was like, how can I use my skills to help people?
yeah.
And I was under the impression that what I knew was easy for everybody. But then I came to find out one of my first clients paid me about as much money. Well, let me say more money, more than twice what I was making at the elementary school to write one book. And I said, there might be a future in this.
Maybe.
So that's where it came from. And then throughout that process, I've continued to refine the niche and figure out who are these people, who can I help best, and I had to learn the business skills and not just the writing skills. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Firstly, thank you so much for sharing the journey. And yeah, I love that what your mentor said to you because creative people need to be creative in their lives. One big thing for me as well is freedom. I feel that that comes a lot with creative people because you can't be caged in. Your mind needs to be running free so you can feel yourself. So I 100% agree with you. And I love the fact that you found a way to do that for yourself because writing is such a talent. Like it is such a skill. Whether you are ghostwriting for other people, writing your own words, writing songs, books, whatever it may be, there's so much power that comes from people's words. So be able to lean into that and help other people discover their own is a really cool asset to have. So I love the fact that you found yourself, and as you say, you can very much move into that space and define the business stuff as you go through it. But you have that core passion and that talent, and you should run to the hills with it 100%. And I suppose, did you ever consider growing up or throughout life that you would become an entrepreneur and this would be the journey that led you to where you are now? Or was that something that just naturally developed? Obviously, you went through your own story.
No, no, I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing now. I really didn't know what I would be doing. I mean, they asked you when you're 18, what are you going to do for the rest of your life in college? You know, I don't know, an engineer like my dad or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but and it's all on you. So no, and I kind of, you know, and I feel like I don't know, it's more exciting to me in a way, that I'm doing this because I didn't expect to be doing it.
Yeah, that's really cool stuff. So I'm just gonna let you know quickly, your Wi-Fi keeps dropping in and out. So if I keep freezing, I don't know if it's on my end or on your end. But we might have
Oh,
to wait a little bit.
uh,
There's a lag somewhere. But no worries. It's if you get a blank stare from me, it's because I'm trying to wait to see what you say. But that's really cool. So as you say, finding a way moving forward from
okay.
there. So I think I lost you again. Yeah, there. So let's dive into legacy biography a little bit more, just so the listeners can have some context moving forward. So, Jordan, at this point in, who would you say like is your ideal client? Like what is that niche you've kind of found yourself in at the moment? And then from there, what is it like to work with you? So how is it you help them and how do you support them along their own journey?
Yeah, the my main demographic, my ideal customer at this point, is, well, let's see, between say 65 and 80 years old, typically male, Christian, business owner who's built their own business. Typically in the American South or the mid or from the Midwest. I mean, I could work with anybody because it's all remote. But those tend to be the people that are most receptive to what I do.
Nice.
And I've noticed that people, they don't just want a book written. Because when I first started this, I learned like from my business mentor, like you can't just write a book for anybody, anytime, any place, because you're going to be doing a race to the bottom. Like you'll have people cut you and I'll write a book for $500. It's like, no, I can't do that. So right in front of these people and ideal client that I was just talking about, and they don't just want a book for themselves. It's not about them. It's always about something bigger than them. It's about telling their testimony as a Christian, as a religious person. I've done a bunch of those, and I got a lot of referrals from people like that. So I thought, well, you got to go where the demand is. There's something here. Like I said earlier, you don't force what you want to do on the market. You go where the market tells you the demand is, right? To an extent. Um, so these people, they want to tell their legacy sometimes. And I don't just work with those kind of people. There's a guy I did a book for recently. It was a real estate book, but he's given all the proceeds to Habitat for Humanity.
How beautiful.
So all of these people, they're doing something, either something bigger than them. It's not
Mhm.
about them. And anytime I get a hold of somebody, like I'll talk with them, do like a video call with them, and they're talking about me, I. They never do it. They never go through with it. And I've noticed that it's always when they start saying things like it's a, you see what I'm saying, like something bigger than themselves. That's really the drive that gets it across. And I'm glad to help them do that because there aren't many people anymore that see the value of that. But when somebody does see the value of it, they really see it. I don't have to convince them. Like somebody asked me the other day about, well, how do you handle objections? I said, I don't have objections really. Like
Yeah.
if I get in front of that person, and I can show them a portfolio of work that I did for them, did for other people very much like them, they're going to
That's
do it
it.
because they see it. And I don't have to, I'm just there to do the work for them. It's not about me. It's not about them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're there to support them. And as you say, anyone, and it's anyone within that field, especially creatives, they have this, and it is like a higher power or higher feeling for themselves. It's like they know where they're going, they know who they have to serve. And as you say, it's the people that are bigger than themselves are the ones that are ready to make those moves and those steps and just provide that inspiration to everybody else. So I love the fact that you are, as you say, kind of not bending to them, but making sure you're remaining that kind of person. They obviously resonate with you as well, which is a really important process when you are like in the trenches with them, helping them unlock their brain and write that book. So do you very much, is it very kind of close contact when you're working with the clients? Like what is
Oh
your,
yeah, I guess this next part comes off of that first question. Like when you're, sometimes when I talk to people and I get red flags from them. Like even if they want to give me a lot of money to do a project, this is a project that's going to take probably a year to a year and a half of like one-on-one. You have to get to know that person to be able to write in their voice. Because a lot of people can write a book. Plenty of people can outwrite me, but can they write
yeah,
this book for this person? Like I'm just finishing up a book now. It's for the widow of a three-time world champion rodeo cowboy from New Mexico. It'll probably be published by the summer. And I don't know anything about rodeo, but I had to do a lot of research, and I interviewed these people for hours and
yeah,
wrote the transcripts and all that. And she was so happy. She said, "This sounds like you grew up around rodeo." I said, "Well, I did a lot of research, because I wanted it to be right. I wanted it to sound like your husband. I want people when they read that book and it's got his name on it, I want it to sound like they're sitting at the kitchen table with
yeah,
this man. He's telling you about their life." So it's very much a hands-on, one-on-one thing. There's a lot of upfront interviews. I have to be. You're not just a writer. You are a project manager. You're an editor. You're a formatter. You're a cover design expert, and you also have to be like a method actor. You have to think like that
yeah,
person. Because if I'm writing a section and I'm thinking, how do I get through this section? What would he say here? And I have to go back to the interviews. I have to, for a little while, you get a little bit crazy. You start thinking, I'll be out at the grocery store and I'll think about, what this client would think about this. And I have to say, whoa, you got to compartmentalize that. This guy's not walking around with you, but he's in your head for a little bit because you have to channel that voice. You have to channel the way he thinks.
yeah, you almost have to take on their persona, as you say, like very much method acting. It's such a good way to
Yeah.
put it because you are like putting yourself in their shoes, and as you say, deep diving into their world for a little bit and relaying exactly what they would say rather than what you would want to say. So you can sound like them, and that is such a skill for ghostwriting. Being able to kind of mimic somebody else, and as you say, even make their wife feel like they're talking to their husband is such a great
Yeah.
skill to lean into 100%. And I know you said before that referrals are kind of your main kind of client base, I suppose, the main way you're acquiring your customers. Do you utilize social media anyway or any other forms and methods just to kind of get your voice out there and people to know who you are?
Well, I've used LinkedIn recently to get some clients, and it's outbound, cold outbound, which
Cool.
is not me. I mean, it works, but it's a grind. I've used referrals. I've just had, but you can't. I've been lucky early on, but you can't replicate luck. So you need a strategy. So I've gotten into LinkedIn, and that's been helpful. But really, the next phase of it would be to build an email list.
Cool.
I like to run ads off of like Facebook and have a lead magnet, your typical strategy, and build an email list. And then I can run, say, for 3 months. I've got it open for, hey, here's the ghostwriting package. It's only open for this time, or give them a promo, give them a discount for this amount of
Nice.
time. Instead of having to go, you don't have to rely on referrals, and you don't have to go do outbound cold marketing, which
Yeah.
I would still do on top of it, but it's like a ladder of marketing is the next phase for it. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. And it is that kind of, as you say, it's more like consistency you need from it. That's the problem with referrals. Even outbound, it is a grind, as you said yourself. I've done it myself, sending all those messages and making all those calls. So it's nice just to streamline that system so you can focus on what you want to do. And as you say, if you have that window open for a few months out of the year, you kind of set and then you can focus on those clients you are working with and move forward from there. And I suppose, Jordan, with all that being said as well, like what are your visions or your ambitions for the company moving forward? Like what are those goals or those milestones you want to be achieving in the next like 6 to 12 months?
Well, one thing that I would like to add on to what I do is book marketing because people come to me, they say, "Well, do you market the book?" Because it's a considerable cost to do this. Um, and some people they understand they just want it for themselves, they want it for their community. But some people say, "Hey, I want a return on this investment to an extent. I mean, I want to make a little bit of money off of it." And because I don't just write the book, I write the book, edit it, format it, do the cover design. I put it on Amazon for the customer.
Oh,
Because I don't think that traditional publishing is really worth it unless you're already famous. And at that point, why do you even need traditional publishing? You know, you can just make your own website. Um, but anyway, some people have said, "Well, can you market the book for me?" And I'm not a book marketer. I mean, I'm a ghostwriter, you know. So I've been looking at some people. I got to get some proof that they can do what they say they can do. But I've been looking at some people to bring in and either white label it or bring them on as staff
nice.
or something to help, because that way, even if the my client can make even just a few $100s a month, consistently for years and years, because I don't ask for a royalty. It's all upfront payment. It's
Yeah.
for hire. So I would like to be able to offer something like that to them so that they could, you know, bring some
Oh,
money in. And so it's not, you know, this is usually over $10,000 for this project. So I don't want it to hit them that hard if they look at it and they say, well, I don't want it to be just a total vanity project. I would like to make a little bit of money back. So that, and I would like to continue to scale it. I don't need but a handful of clients per year because I mean,
yeah.
I'm not looking to be a millionaire off of this, and I have very low cost of living where I live. But I would like to get to the point where I could hire like junior ghostwriters on staff.
Nice.
I'm the one that works with them, works with the client, and train the writers, and then have outsourced editors. And every step of the way, like a conveyor belt or whatever,
Yeah.
like building a car or something, you have each section is outsourced, and I could just manage all of it and like an agency.
Yeah.
But that would take time. I mean, you got to build up to it in stages. That and the marketing side of it. Eventually, I want to get to the point where I can start a second business in a completely different niche, completely different.
Nice.
So, because it's not like diversifying your investments, and instead of doing that, you diversify your income. So I would like to get what I'm doing now to a certain point, a certain dollar amount, um, and then use some of that to start something totally different. Because what happens if something in my industry, my niche, whatever, it falls apart, and then it's like having a job. You have one income source that's not good. So that's what I'm thinking, out for the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. You're really kind of stepping into more of the business side of everything. And as you say, like eventually growing the team out. And you can help more clients as well, aspects as well. You can focus on what you need to do. And as you say, having two forms of income, even three at one point might be a goal for you because you never know what's going to happen in the future. So I love the fact that you're thinking about those kind of things. And as you say, taking the right steps. Funny enough, I was actually speaking to a book marketing agency earlier on today. And exactly the same thing, it's regardless if they're looking to write the book for themselves or for that legacy piece. I feel like even with that little bit of marketing aspect, yes, they'll make some money, but they also have a bigger impact. They're going to hit more people that might not be within their like local area or zone. So I just think it's an amazing key to add on, even for yourself as a service. You're just kind of doing the whole holistic approach to it, which is a really cool aspect, and not a lot of people can offer the both. So yeah, 100% lean into that and then take that to the field. And Jordan, where are you probably finding the biggest challenge for yourself at the moment, like within the business or even taking those next steps?
Mm, Fear, I think. I know what I need to do. Like I could have gotten much further along than what I am now if I had just made the move. I think nowadays you can't sit around. You have to be fast. You got to go ahead and you got to do it. And if you screw it up, you pivot and do something else. But I sat around. I got complacent because I had a client just kind of just fell in my lap basically, and the guy paid me a stupid amount of money. for me. Like it's several years worth of my income to do one book for him. And I said, this is great. And then, like an idiot, I didn't put that money into advertising. I didn't put that money into building the email list that I'm starting now, years later. Because there was a time there when I had to go back and get a day job. And oh, I hated it. I worked at a bank as a bank teller. Nothing wrong with that job, but I remember when I walked out of that place, when I finally got my stuff together and I walked out of that place the last time, I said, "Oh, thank God I don't have to go back in there." Not as a worker, but fear of building the email list, going ahead and talking to finding, getting off of my backside and going and talking to some book marketing people instead of there's a concept of standard work and improvement work. And I think sometimes I get caught up in the standard work, the client work, instead of the improvement
Yeah.
work that you don't get paid for, but keeps the client work coming in project instead of thinking like the business owner and bringing, do the marketing and all that stuff. I think that's the hang up right now. It's nothing, no, it's just me. I think it's an internal thing that I got to get through.
Yeah, I think it's one of those catch-22s for a lot of founders because as you say, like working in the business, you get so run down in that day to day, but you do have to keep thinking of like working on the business also like bringing in new clients. Where can I kind of put more investments into yourself or even into the business to keep it growing? But I don't think it isn't just a you problem. And even the fear, sometimes it's imposter syndrome, just coming into play. But there are all those things that like you're the kind of guy that seems like you'll be able to get through them. It's
Yeah,
just, as you
because
said, learning from your past mistakes and taking that next step.
I thought the other day, I mean, I'm not rich by any means, but I looked around the other day and somebody said, "Whoa, wish we can't all be like you, Jordan." Because I just like during the middle of the day, I go for a walk and just go do stuff. I'm a night owl, so I do most of my work late at night, and I'll run errands during the day. And they're like, "So what do you don't have the off to tell you got to be somewhere? You got a 30-minute lunch and all that?" Um, uh, it's sometimes I think like, do I deserve this? And this is years that I've been doing this, and I still had that little voice in my head like, do you really deserve this? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. People who work 60 and 70 hours a week and don't make the kind of money that you make working 15, 20 hours a week from home. And I don't know if that little voice ever goes away. I've talked to other people, and I think some people make way more money than I do. And they're like, yeah, I still feel like that because a lot of them, they came from modest backgrounds. And they're like, when I started, I don't know if it's a guy thing or not, but I know one guy, he's like, when I started making more money than my dad, I had some weird stuff going on in my head. Like, who are you to out earn your father? I was
No, sorry, you cut out again. But yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're saying. I don't think it's just a guy thing. I think it's generally, as you say, like when people get to those levels, the voice never goes away. I think you learn to ignore it more and more, and then it might pop up again, and then it's just keep suppressing it and moving forward.
like,
And I think just knowing your worth, you've got a skill, like lean into it. It's like no one would say the same thing about a professional athlete that's earning like over 20 mil a year. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, look at them, they're in a lucky position. But it's because they've got a skill and they can use that skill to
yeah,
earn some money.
yeah.
So why shouldn't you do the same thing? It's 100%. But Jordan, we've run out of time, but thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. I've had such a pleasure speaking with you. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do so?
To work with me, I've got a website, but it's janky. I don't think I've messed with probably 2 or 3 years because my clients don't even know I have a website because I that's not how they find me. LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'll have short hair in the picture versus this mane that I've got. I need to change that. LinkedIn under Jordan Fennell, Fennell, or if you really want to get my attention, you send me an email at jordan@legacybiography.net, not .com, but .net. Yeah, that's me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And you actually shocked me today with your long hair as well. So yeah, 100%. Either the hair needs to change or the photo does. I think change the photo, not the hair. But it's really cool stuff, and thank you again for joining me. To our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to go and check out Jordan Fennell, as you just said. Drop him a message on LinkedIn, drop him an email if you want direct access. I'm sure he'd love to hear from everybody. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing, and we will see you on the next one.